Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I go over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. Man, it's been a crazy week of news. There is tariffs, there are fees, there is Retroid Pocket Flip 2 rumors because it's a slow week, and there's a whole bunch more, and we're going to talk about it all today. It's a doozy of a week, and as always, the best way to experience that news is through the newscast. So thanks for tuning in. By the way, did you know that I have an awesome website filled to the brim with guides, tips, tricks, all that sort of thing for retro gaming, retro handhelds, and anything that you would need in this space? No advertisements. There is a lot of content on there, but no ads. It's all free to you. And nobody likes ads, and nobody wants to go to a website filled with ads. So check it out. Spruce got an update for the Miu A30, adding a few new things and some hints to their future releases. They added a theme garden, which lets you preview and download themes directly to your A30. There's some bug fixes, but the biggest change that I could see is they are adding beta over-the-air updating support, which means you could update from the device going forward, or at least, hopefully, if it's working, it's beta, so you never know. Spruce has single-handedly saved the A30 in 2024, and they're still going, which is awesome to see. However, they are teasing what their next devices are. They say that they plan on supporting the Miu Flip, the TrimUI Brick, and the TrimUI Smart Pro with their next release. And that's awesome for any of the users of those devices. It's great to see. The TrimUI Smart Pro only has a few other options for custom firmware, or I guess operating systems at this point. The Miu Flip doesn't really have much, and TrimUI Smart or TrimUI Brick is needing some of that custom firmware, I think, but it all depends on your definition of custom firmware. Some people don't like calling an operating system custom firmware. We're going to call it custom firmware in this case. Firmware, every week. Anyways, keep up the great work, Spruce team. You guys are doing awesome stuff, so good job. This next news is super cool, but completely irrelevant to myself. But there might be a lot of people that like this. Do you still own an actual PS2? Well, 8-Bit Mods released a firmware update for their MemCard Pro 2, and it allows you to actually boot games off of it. So it acts as both a hard drive and a memory card at the same time. Now it is actually a memory card, and it works as a memory card for your PS2, and now you can actually use it to boot games too, so it's pretty super cool in all honesty. I don't own a PS2, but I wanted to share it just in case you still own one and are using it. Thanks to Matt Davis for sharing the news. Question of the week, and unfortunately, this is going to be an American-focused question, just because they seem to want the spotlight this week. So while this question is going to be American-focused, I think it might end up affecting other countries at some point pretty soon. But my question is, how do the tariffs affect your purchasing of retro handhelds going forward? Now, just a reminder, all of this stuff is still kind of wishy-washy. I've seen a few examples of what the tariffs look like, and then I've seen others where they've skipped it. So it seems like it's kind of here or there, and it seems to be changing by the hour, with USPS not receiving packages, then suddenly they are receiving packages, and it's like every hour there's some sort of news. So as of right now, it looks like it is a 10% tariff, plus there's a $32.71 per package fee, and it's a merchandise processing fee, I believe it's called. So if you are in the US and you buy a $50 item, add 10% and add $32.71. That is the current, as I'm aware, fees that you need to pay. That is a lot of money. That goes from a TrimUI brick being $70 to now being over $110. That is a big change, and this should affect pretty much everything on the American side for anything that you might purchase in the retro handheld space or anything else if you are importing a 1-cent item, a dollar item. And all of this is because they got rid of, from my understanding, again, I'm not American, I'm just doing all this reading, is they got rid of the exemption that you guys had for under $800 US. So as much as a lot of people don't want to hear or talk about this because it is semi-politics, it is affecting our entire hobby. This will make big changes if true, and if it is exactly how I've seen it, this will change a lot of things in our hobby for what people are going to spend on, what people are going to buy, what devices get released, all of that. So you know me, I've always preached buy once, cry once. I don't like the collecting of handhelds. It just doesn't exist to me. It's not a thing that I want to do. So in that scenario where you're going to buy a Odin 2 Portal, where you're going to buy a Steam Deck, where you're going to buy something like, actually Steam Deck's not a good example, but if you're going to buy any of the higher end retro handhelds in our space, you're going to spend a bit more, but hopefully that saves you the trouble of buying all the other e-waste priced handhelds, I guess, because it's going to be tough to buy an RG34XX SP now when it's going to cost you at least another 40 US dollars on top. So that is kind of where I'm at. I'm going to guess that we're going to see a lot more people buying the higher end devices just to skip out on all of this, and it's going to hurt the lower end definitely going forward. Or there might be people that just completely skip retro handhelds altogether. And like I said before, just going to go buy a Steam Deck, going to go buy an ROG Ally, going to go buy something they can get locally that doesn't have these tariffs applied, and they're on their way. Because with this change, the Odin 2 Portal now becomes at least $100 more US. That really changes things. It really changes a lot of things in where it's priced and how effective it is against x86 devices that you could just walk into Best Buy and grab. So anyways, let's wrap this one up. Americans, I guess, what is your plan going forward if it is 32 US dollars per package plus 10% tariff? Are you still going to be buying what you were buying before? Are you going to hold back? Do you have a plan? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of not having a plan, MSI is releasing the MSI Claw 8 AI in the same way that they released the original Claw, which is zero marketing, zero release date information, and it's kind of out of stock, kind of you can buy it. It's a complete disaster at the moment. So let me just talk about Canada first, and then we'll talk about the USA, and unfortunately don't know much about other countries, so I'm going to have to only talk about North America at the moment. So in Canada, the MSI Claw 8 AI went up for pre-order for a whopping 1,299 Canadian dollars. And for reference, the Ally X is 1,099. So it is $200 more than the Ally X just right off the bat, right off launch. Now, it initially said, when I purchased it, a release date of February 4th, and that has now been scrubbed off and there is no release date. I have no information on when my order is shipping. There is absolutely zero information on when this is releasing. So it seems like it kind of went up by maybe mistake and people ordered it, and now they're just left wondering when is it actually coming out. Now in the US, it is $899 US dollars, and it says coming soon with no actual date on the page. And I tried scrubbing the internet to look for some sort of date of release, and I kept seeing different things because what's happening now is users and customers are going to their retailers and asking for dates, and they're getting a different answer depending on the retailer. Amazon says March, for whatever reason. I've seen in maybe the UK, it said February 11th or something like that. It just seems like there is no information, there is no release date, there is no plan here for sending this thing out, and it is not looking good for MSI. So it's kind of the original MSI Claw all over again, because that was a bit of a disastrous launch too. It's not so much or not as bad as the Zotac Zone, which I don't think anybody even knew it came out, and it came out and then didn't really do anything with. But I have to know, did anybody in my comments purchase the MSI Claw 8 AI? And if so, do you have a release date? Do you know when it's coming? All that sort of thing. On my end, I'm not super excited for it. I mean, I held it at CES. I played with it there. I was surprised at how comfortable it felt, how good it was, all that sort of thing. But in a year like this year, where I am 100% predicting we are going to see a massive amount of x86 devices with OLED, with power, with great battery, all that sort of thing, MSI Claw is kind of the first one of the year, and it probably isn't the best one. Like already I know the Legion Go, Legion Go 2, having played with it at CES, is better than the MSI Claw 8 AI. And that's just easy for me to say because it has OLED, it has VRR, it has a nice 120, 144 hertz screen, I forget. But either way, definitely better already than the MSI Claw. And at 1,299 Canadian dollars, this is a hard sell, I think, over everybody. I don't know. And there's still probably some hindrance with it being Intel, although I have seen probably the most driver updates out of any device on the Claw. So Intel just keeps releasing driver updates every single week. They are doing the work. That is good to see. And it's probably gotten to a good place now, but there's still probably a lot of people out there that are like, I'd rather just stick with AMD. So there's a lot of things against the MSI Claw this year. We'll have to see what happens, but yeah, I don't know what MSI is doing. Asus figured out the launch of the Ally and the Ally X and did it perfectly. Lenovo did all right with their launch, but it's pretty simple. You come up with a release date, you stick to that release date, you come up with stock, and then you sell the device. It's simple. And you do some marketing at some point. You do some trailers and you let people know and all of that. But I don't know what's going on. I don't work for these multi-billion-dollar companies. I don't know what they're thinking. So yeah. Review to come on the MSI Claw 8 AI whenever I get mine, and we'll talk about it then. Okay, so I guess we gotta talk about this one. I actually wasn't going to address the Flip 2 rumors because there was no reason to. It kind of only came up this week because February is kind of a slow week for content creators, and so you kind of need those views, and so a lot of people jump on that, and then now I have to actually address it. Now, I was just as shocked as the community when I saw big websites coming up with my name and a quote about the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 coming, and they cited my Miu Flip review, because this isn't the first time that I've hinted or teased a Retroid Pocket Flip 2 coming. I would buy the SP over this. I would buy the original Retroid Pocket Flip over this. I would wait because we have a 34XX SP coming. We have a Retroid Pocket Flip 2 coming. It's coming. Now, big shout out to Alex over at Notebook Check, who started this whole thing with his little article. So thank you. I know he's been following me for a while. I've seen a few different articles with my name from him. So I appreciate the exposure, I guess, but thank you. Now, again, I was shocked because I have cryptically tweeted about the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 in the past, and this was months ago now in October. So you've seen that, but I guess nobody really got that. Even more shocked that on this very program, I have made cryptic hints and little sneaks and things like that about the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 coming, and you could see that in previous videos. But I don't think this is the last clamshell that's coming. Retroid Pocket Minis are shipping, and I've probably also done it in other videos. I don't remember. I'd have to go and scrub all of my videos, but I know I've been kind of hinting and teasing here and there, at least on my Discord I have been quite a bit, but letting people know that, yeah, there's a Retroid Pocket 2 Flip coming. Now, let me clarify something, because I've seen this kind of posted around. This isn't me making things up, because, that's not something that I do. I would have no reason to do so. I have seen actual Flip 2 designs. I've seen the pictures. I've had them. So I'm not going to release them. That doesn't make much sense. I don't want to get anybody fired, but I know it exists. I know it is in some stage of development. Either it's just CAD drawings and they're making it up, or they have gone further than that, because the last information I saw was months ago now. And at that point, I knew a few different things. And if I was going to share it publicly, I would have just done so. I would have just been like, hey, here is the picture of what they're doing, and posted it and made a video on it and be like, hey, I have all of the news on the Flip 2, but I didn't. My plan was just to kind of tease things out and just have some fun with it, because it is kind of fun. It's just awesome. I'm really excited for a Flip 2. And so knowing that they have it in some stage of development was like, cool. So I just teased here and there, and I really didn't expect or plan to completely announce anything, because I don't gain anything from doing that, but I guess others do. So once again, does the Flip 2 exist? Probably at some stage of development at this point. It has been a few months. I have only seen CAD drawings and things like that. So yeah, they have at least been planning or doing it, and that makes sense to anybody if you understand how companies work. So they are prototyping. They are trying to see if it makes sense and all of that. But a Google form isn't going to change their mind at this point. This is Retroid. Retroid is known for, up to the Retroid Pocket 5 and Mini, denying both of them existing up to a day before. So if you somehow think that a Google form or even just talking to Retroid is going to tell you, the most closed of companies in this space is somehow going to tell you publicly that, yeah, we have a Flip 2 coming, when they have never ever done anything like that in the past, then I don't know what to tell you. But either way, is it coming? I have no idea. All I know is the drawings, and all I know is that it is in some stage of development. Now, that is a few months ago. If it's changed, don't know. But I wouldn't trust anything that anybody says at this point because nobody knows. And I never claimed to know. The only thing that I claim to know is that it was in some stage of development, which seems like it is. Now, if Retroid truly wanted your feedback, they would just do it themselves. They wouldn't rely on a third-party marketing affiliation to handle their communication to users. So no, none of that matters. If it feels good for you to brainstorm ideas on the Flip 2, then do it. I mean, I did it myself with the Flip 2 video I did months ago. It feels good in a lot of ways, but don't think that your information is going towards anything good. It's just going to the wind. Retroid is, yeah, they've made the Flip before. They know the Ambernick SP exists. They know the Miu Flip exists. They know the demand for clamshell devices. If they aren't going to make one, it is for other reasons. It is not because of demand. There is no lack of demand for a clamshell. They know exactly the demand that exists. The point being that just chill. Just wait. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I can only just share what I know, and that's it. But not going to post anything publicly. I don't want to get anybody fired. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But it seems like others kind of outed themselves throughout this process as to where their affiliations are and kind of how this all happened. So, I mean, they're kind of taking themselves down, but I'm not going to be part of that. Now, I will say I've seen a lot of brainstorming about the Flip 2, and I want to tell you to just temper back all of those expectations of a dual screen and all that sort of thing, because I would look at the Flip compared to the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, and then take the Retroid Pocket 5 and make a Flip 2 out of it, because that's exactly what's happening, or what I know of. Anyways, let's get back to the news, because this isn't real news, and we didn't really need to talk about it, but I guess I had to, so yeah. By the way, did you know that we have our Game of the Month and ROM Hack of the Month happening right now in the Discord? Game of the Month is Medieval, and ROM Hack of the Month is Wario Land 4 Parallel World. So if you want to play some games, come join the Discord and we can play some games. Nintendo just DMCA'd a Bloodborne 60 FPS patch. Wait, no, I mean Sony. Sorry, Nintendo, it's force of habit. Yeah, I stole that joke from a meme. Don't blame me. It was a good joke. There was a patch released back in 2021 which let Bloodborne run at 60 FPS on the PS4 Pro. And suddenly now Sony is like, we're sending you a DMCA and you need to take it all down. Does this mean anything? Likely not, but it seems weird to do it at this point in 2025. Steam is now warning about early access games that haven't been updated in months. In one example, the game wasn't updated in over 14 months, so you can likely consider it to kind of be dead. And so Good Guy Steam is like, hey, maybe you shouldn't spend money on this if it's not being updated anymore. So it's good to see. Dragon Age Veilguard came out not too long ago, and that first trailer was a complete disaster, and it screamed Fortnite all over to me. And so I just didn't pay attention to it. The game came out, and it kind of came out to varying mixed to low kind of reviews, and now the developers are being laid off because BioWare is going to be focusing directly on Mass Effect going forward. I'm really hoping the developers land on their feet, because obviously it wasn't their fault that the game's direction was sent that way. But at this point, is anybody excited for anything from BioWare anymore? Because they have not done anything good in a while, and they are kind of clinging to Mass Effect here. But if this doesn't go well, I cannot see BioWare existing after this. Remember last week how we talked about how Xbox was announcing 4 games months ago that were coming to PS5 and other platforms, and they were like, no other games are coming. Well, Forza Horizon 5 is now coming to the PlayStation 5. This is super cool because Forza Horizon series is my favorite of the Xbox games and series. And so it's awesome to see this come to the PS5. This is a earth-shattering moment for gaming because worlds are colliding in a wholly weird way. Playing Forza Horizon 5 on a PlayStation 5 is going to be extremely weird to me. But this also means that the floodgates are open. Gears of War 4 or Gears of War is going to come. Halo is going to come. Does Xbox make anything else? I forget. But either way, those games are going to come to PlayStation 5 at some point. So yeah, the floodgates are open. Now, if you're still here at this point, I want to try something new. At the end of this newscast, let's do some questions and answers, I think. We'll see if this actually works. Newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com. Send in your questions, send in your emails, send in your things, and we'll just try some things out. We'll see if maybe we can get some things that might resonate with a few people and might help you out with some questions and answers, and make it whatever you want. If you want to get personal, if you want to get I don't even know. If you want to, don't get super technical. I don't want to have to talk you through adding things, shaders and stuff to RetroArch, but just send some stuff over and I'll answer it. And you know how I am. I'll answer it just honestly as much as I can. So newscast at joeysretrohandhelds.com. That is the email address. So let's do it. Appreciate you all for watching, and that's all from me, Portland,